Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome to the greatest racetrack in the world, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, as we are here to begin the best 2 weeks of the racing season here on AG the channel. Indy 250 Week 2023 is just upon us, and we begin with a practice session for the Indianapolis 250 for the 26 full-time drivers in the Haas IndyCar Series. A 20-minute session here today for these drivers, and for the first time ever in these practice sessions, we will be awarding championship points, or should I say championship point. We're going to have ourselves a point rewarded for the fastest driver in this practice session on Friday's practice session and in the carb day practice just before the big race. So even though it's only 1 point, that 1 point can go a long way, but we wanted to add something to these practice sessions to make them a little bit more worthwhile for these drivers, and 1 point rewarded to the fastest driver here for Indy 250 full-time practice. Only the 26 full-time drivers in this practice session, the 10 drivers who are Indy 250 only drivers, will join the other 26 full-time drivers on Friday for the main practice session, and in that main practice session we will determine the qualifying order for Saturday. Tomorrow we open up the road course for Grand Prix of Indianapolis qualifying, and then the Grand Prix of Indianapolis is Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. But right now, 20 minutes for the full-time drivers here for the first practice session of Indy 250 week here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And just under 2 weeks' time, it's the big race, the 10th running of the Indianapolis 250. Absolutely unbelievable that we have gotten to this point here for this great race, but I'm glad to be sitting here today with all y'all and watching these cars go around the greatest racetrack in the world. Following along with the winner of the second running of this race, and at the time it was just a 200-mile race. This is Christian Master in the 55. Of course, grabbed the race victory in 2015. But Christian Master has also DNQ'd for this race, failed to qualify in 2020, so it's going to be interesting to see if something like that happens to one of these main drivers this year. Of course, 3 drivers will fail to qualify for the Indianapolis 250 once the time comes on Sunday, and it's definitely going to be a very unique session once we get to that point. Just ahead of him there is Logan Williams, who won the logo contest. So the logo you see for the Indianapolis 250 this year was done by Logan Williams himself. Logan Williams going to be his third Indianapolis 250 if he qualifies, and a best finish of second 2 years ago, just barely losing out to Ethan Lewis in that event. Tanner Parton here will be running his first ever Indianapolis 250, assuming he qualifies. And when I say they're running their first, we're going off the assumption that they are going to qualify for the race, even though it's not a guarantee. But this team has done very well, especially with Cole Raymond, Nathan Orman Motorsports bringing some strong cars to the Haas IndyCar Series this year, and Tanner Parton with a great opportunity at getting a race victory. Here's Trey Smith, the defending winner of the Indianapolis 250, won the race for Ryan Durrani Incorporated back in 2022, 1 year ago, and he's looking to go back-to-back and join Nicholas Samadillo as drivers who have won this race twice in the past. It'll be his third Indianapolis 250, and looking to get it done for Otter Island Motorsports. Aaron Abel comes into this race the points leader in the Haas IndyCar Series. Of course, that is after the Kansas race. Of course, we have one more race in between now and the Indy 250 when we hit the road course for the Grand Prix of Indianapolis. Of course, originally, that race was scheduled for today. We moved it over to add this practice session and extend Indy 250 week to 2 weeks here. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Thomas Troxel on the 42. A veteran to this race. It'll be his 5th Indy 250, and he has finished second in this race before as well. Runner-up to Samadillo in 2020, and also finished in the 5th position in 2019. Justin Zaidel. I know he is coming into this race with a vengeance after he failed to qualify last year, driving for this Grattan Autosport team as well. Right now, he holds the fastest time, and that would be a bonus point towards the championship for him right there, if he can in fact pull it off. But Zaidel looking very strong here this season, has done an excellent job in the point standings, and a great opportunity for him here in his 6th Indianapolis 250. He's been in this race quite a bit in the past, but has not gone the victory lane yet in it. looking to do so. It actually would be his 5th Indianapolis 250 because that is not including the time he DNQ'd last year. John Stewart in the 25, going to be his first ever Indianapolis 250, and what a big race for John here. It's going to be a very unique race for this team because, you know, they've not had a good run this season after winning the championship with their driver last year. But Wisconsin Speedworks, they're going to also have Chase Harris in their 3rd entry for this race. And even though Chase Harris, the one time he ran this race back in 2020, only finished in the 21st position, I think these guys are going to get a lot of knowledge from him. Jay Knapp in the 98. That'll be his 2nd Indianapolis 250. Finished 20th in last year's edition of this race, and NS Racing has done an excellent job. They're bringing in a 3rd driver as well with Bruno Diacomo in the 80. And we're going to see him on track on Friday. Here's John Andrews in the number 21, another longtime veteran to this race. It'll be Andrews' 6th Indy 250 and a best finish of 6th in 2020 for this driver. Ace Garcia, yet another driver in his 6th Indianapolis 250 and a best finish of 7th in last year's event, looking to improve that time coming into this year's race. Angel Olvera in the number 1. It'll be his 3rd Indianapolis 250. Unfortunately for him, this race has never given him too much luck. A best finish of 26th in both of the times that he has run this race here. So hopefully he will get a better run in this year's event. Landon Smith Jr. It'll be his 2nd Indianapolis 250. He finished 29th in last year's event when his brother went to victory lane. Driving there for Dracoan Racing Enterprises, a very strong team. Christian Vargas, runner-up in 2019, the Audra Baranowskis in that wild finish that we had in that 2019 event. He is driving for the team that won this race last year in Ryan Durrani Incorporated. Number 13, Avery Alford, going to be his 1st Indianapolis 250. He is last in points coming into this race, but a great opportunity for him to improve. Brad Stover, this is going to be his 1st Indianapolis 250, and of all the drivers making their first Indy 250 start, this gentleman right here is by far the most experienced. Of course, won at Lime Rock Park about a month ago, and a great opportunity for him to show what he's made of here in NR 2003. An Indy 250 win would be huge for this gentleman right here in going to victory lane. But how about this gentleman right here? This was such an impressive stat line when I found out. Zachary Fitzwater, runner-up in last year's Indianapolis 250. It'll be his 4th running in this race. He has never finished outside the top 10. Finished 2nd last year, finished 3rd in 2015, the race that Christian Master won, and then finished 8th in 2017. This is the first time Fitzwater is attempting back-to-back Indianapolis 250s, and a great opportunity for him there in Dog Pound Incorporated. Bradley Bradshaw going to be his 1st Indianapolis 250. Development driver there to Derek Hamill. Eric Drew in the theoretical ride that won this race last year, driving the number 52 for Ryan Durrani Incorporated. It'll be his 1st Indianapolis 250. Noah Clifton, here is a driver who has a lot of experience in this race. It'll be his 7th running in this great event, and best finish of 5th in 2020. But he also finished 6th in 2021 and 8th last year. So 3 straight years of top 10 finishes for Noah Clifton in this race, and looking to give DM Motorsports a great opportunity at an Indy 250 race victory. Chris Reynolds in the 75, attempting his 2nd Indianapolis 250, but unfortunately for him, last year he failed to qualify for this race, driving for Dracoan Racing Enterprises. Of course, he won 2 of the first 3 races of the season this year, but those are the only 2 times he has seen the front in the Haas IndyCar Series this season. A great opportunity for him, however, to get a good run in this race, driving for Otter Island Motorsports. And we'll have to see what he can do there in the number 75. Cole Raymond, winner of our last race here in the Haas IndyCar Series, grabbed the race victory at the Kansas Speedway. And, of course, a high-speed oval right there, just like this one. Of course, they're very different racetracks, but Cole Raymond has done an excellent job this season and also won the finale race last year at the Pocono Raceway, which is the closest racetrack in similarity to Indianapolis. So a good opportunity for Cole Raymond to have a great opportunity at winning this race. So many great opportunities going around, if you catch my drift. Luna Lona in the double zero, an excellent season for her. One career win on the channel, came in the Wawa Sprint Series earlier this year, but she's done an excellent job for Dog Pound Incorporated this season. It'll be her first Indianapolis 250 in that double zero machine. And excited to see what she can pull off there for Shane Lake's organization. Number 33 here, Roy Ribbleton. It'll be his second Indianapolis 250. He was an Indy 250 only driver last year, driving for Dracoan Racing Enterprises, and an excellent opportunity for him here as well. Finished 9th in this race last year, and comes into this race with 2 career wins as well, both in the Wawa Sprint Series. Thomas Troxel in the number 42. We already mentioned him. But Aaron Abel in the 97, right behind him there, and Aaron Abel, I think we already mentioned him as well, because he's the points leader coming into this race. This is the guy we have yet to mention, and can we not mention Nicholas Samadio? The most legendary driver of this race, no doubt about it, attempting his 9th Indianapolis 250. No driver has been in more Indianapolis 250s than Mr. Edge himself, Nicholas Samadio. He's driving for Grattan Autosport. However, the number 5 did fail to qualify last year when Justin Zeidel was driving this ride. Of course, single car qualification, so these guys definitely have to tune their race cars up for that once we get to that point on Saturday. But Nicholas Samadio, 2-time Indianapolis 250 champion, won this race in 2018 and then won it 2 years later in 2020, looking for his 3rd Indianapolis 250 race victory. Let's see here. Do this every single year. Did we get all 26 drivers in? I know we talked about all these guys. Did not talk about Caleb Rose yet. He won the pole at Kansas, and that's a good sign for this team. Obviously a super speedway there. They might have something good for their super speedway program. But Caleb Rose has tasted the raw side of Indy 250 qualifying before, as he failed to qualify in his first ever attempt at this race back in 2021. But finished 18th last year, was able to make the race last year, and looking to go for his 2nd Indianapolis 250 start. We'll see if we caught everybody else in the field here. Caleb Rose may, in fact, be the last driver of these full-time drivers. Of course, the full-time drivers, we'll go over them again on Friday for the main practice session. But keep in mind, there is a point at stake for the fastest driver in this practice session, and while this does not determine anything for the race itself, this could go a long way in terms of the championship. And Aaron Abel in the 97 currently holds on to that fastest time, so Aaron Abel looking very strong for NS Racing. They're going to be bringing in, like I said, Bruno Diacomo as their 3rd driver, driving the number 80 machine for this race. And Diacomo's done an excellent job over in the Wawa Sprint Series, and we'll have to see what he can in fact do. The 10 drivers who will be in those Indy 250 rides include a lot of Wawa Sprint Series veterans. We got Skylar Taylor in the 9. They've won quite a few times over in the Wawa Sprint Series. Alexander Rowe is going to be in this race, and not Max Anderson. Alexander Rowe has always used Max Anderson as his driver in this race for years past. Max Anderson's made a lot of starts in this race before, but now Alexander Rowe himself back behind the wheel. We've not seen Alexander Rowe drive on the channel in quite a while, almost a year in fact. But great to see Alexander Rowe back behind the wheel here for racing on the channel. But it's going to be Alexander Rowe's first official attempt at the Indianapolis 250 himself, so could get very interesting right there. Angel Gutierrez has been driving in the Wawa Sprint Series. He'll be in the number 16 for Dog Pound Incorporated. I should mention that Alexander Rowe driving for Trackhouse Racing, and Reggie Fogelman in the number 12. We got Chase Harris, who will be driving for Wisconsin Speedworks in the number 31. Definitely looking forward to seeing him back. The 2020 Haas IndyCar Series champion going to be attempting this year's Indianapolis 250. Benny Moore, who has been running in the Wawa Sprint Series as well, will be driving the 37 for Hairgel Motorsports. Hairgel Motorsports, one of the 2 teams running the Indianapolis 250 alone. Then we got ourselves the number 51 of Matt Tuck, driving for Grattan Autosport. And of all the Indy 250 only drivers, Matt Tuck is by far the most experienced in this race. Matt Tuck looking to start his 5th Indianapolis 250 this year for Grattan Autosports, and going to be teammates with Justin Zeidel or Nicholas Samadio there. I mean, I tell you, Samadio and Zeidel both have won championships in the series. Matt Tuck has won a race in the Haas IndyCar Series before as well. He's got a best finish of 14th. That team's going to be definitely a big storyline over the next couple of weeks. Mason Brown looking to attempt his second Indianapolis 250. He attempted this race back in 2020, but failed to qualify that year. He'll be driving for Tracoan Racing Enterprises. We mentioned Bruno Diacomo driving for NS Racing in the number 80 machine. And then we have an entirely new team just for this race, Webb Racing Enterprises. Drew Webb, the owner of this team. Of course, Drew Webb went to victory lane in the Wawa Cup Series about a week and a half ago. But Jacob Walker will be driving the number 88. And then Jim Vincentleff, who is the current points leader over in the Wawa Sprint Series, will be driving the number 99. They got a lot of these Sprint Series drivers attempting this race. They've been signing up every week over there, so they were ready to go when we had Indy 250 only signups come up, but especially great to see guys like Chase Harris and Matt Tuck and Alexander Rowe return. A lot of longtime veterans right there, and then also some of the relatively new faces who have been running very well over in the Sprint Series, like Skylar Taylor, Jim Vincentleff, Benny Moore. Definitely going to be great to see those guys running on Friday for the first practice session. Aaron Abel looking to get this bonus point in the first practice. And of course, with the ratings being equal, these practice sessions, and honestly, even with the draft as well, because we don't have the draft in qualifying. So you could be the fastest in practice, but be the slowest in qualifying. So, this really isn't a good measure for how well these guys are going to do throughout the course of the next 2 weeks leading up to the big race on May 27th. But Aaron Abel absolutely looking strong for NS Racing. An opportunity for him to get the biggest win of his career, and I'd say that because it'd be his first ever win of his career. There is a driver whose only career win is this race. That is Ethan Lewis, who won this 2 years ago. Unfortunately, Ethan not attempting this year's Indy 250. But regardless of the fact, we could see ourselves a first-time winner. Of all the drivers attempting this race, we have ourselves 9 drivers who have never won a race before on the channel in any series. They include Caleb Rose, who, we've been talking about Caleb a lot, and him getting his first career win. Avery Alford has never gone to victory lane before. Angel Gutierrez, Tanner Parton, Bradley Bradshaw, Bruno Diacomo, Jacob Walker, Aaron Abel, and Jay Knapp. And Abel being one of those 9 drivers, definitely be interesting to see if he can pull it off. But the other 27 attemptees all have gone to victory lane in some capacity on the channel before. But of all these guys, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 of them have won races in the Haas IndyCar Series before. And of those 15, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 of them have won multiple races. And then 3 of those drivers have won this race, and only one has won it twice, being Nicholas Samadio. And Nicholas Samadio, Zachary Fitzwater as well, 2 of the all-time winningest drivers who are attempting this race, 2 of the all-time winningest drivers on the channel. Fitzwater, 26 career wins on the channel. Samadio, 23 career wins on the channel. Both drivers with 5 career wins in the Haas IndyCar Series, along with Chase Harris. Those 3 drivers are going to be the highest favorites, I feel like, for the Indy 250. Samadio, Fitzwater, and Harris, all with a lot of experience and a lot of success in the Haas IndyCar Series in the past. And of course, Fitzwater, last year's runner-up, definitely going to be a threat to win because he has never finished outside the top 10 for this race. And definitely going to be interesting to see what he can pull off. Aaron Abel is looking to get this bonus point here in practice. And that bonus point's going to go a long way in terms of the championship. And keep in mind, this race is not a double points race. The Indianapolis 250 is worth 50 points for the win, just like all the other races. And that's actually how it's going to be in real life now as well, in case you didn't know. So definitely excited for that. But these guys absolutely know that every point matters in terms of the championship. But they're not thinking about the championship when it comes to this race. They're thinking about this Indianapolis 250. And, we'll think about the championship when we get to the road course tomorrow for qualifying, and then Thursday for the Grand Prix of Indianapolis. But Saturday, May 27th, no one cares about the championship. It's all about winning this big race. 100 laps here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We will have 2 cycles of pit stops, about a 40-lap fuel run for the race as always. And you never know when those wrecks are going to happen. That's the very unique thing about Indianapolis. We have had extremely long green flag runs to open up the race. Up to 60 laps we have opened up this race green. But we've never had a caution-free Indianapolis 250, and there's usually always some bit of attrition in this race. I promise we'll never have what we had in the second edition of this race, where more than half the field wrecked out, and we had 3 cars left at the end competing for the race victory. We've gotten past that point, and it's been a very great race the past few years. Always a memorable one, and excited to see who can pull it off. And here is the gentleman who won it last year, Trey Smith in the number 79. Was driving for Ryan Durrani Incorporated last year, and what a battle he had with Zachary Fitzwater for this Indy 250 race victory. And while it was not a constant passing at the end of the race, it was a very long green flag run to end last year's race. We were witnessing history right there with Trey Smith and Zachary Fitzwater, 2 of the best drivers, I think, in the Haas IndyCar Series going after, and especially last year. Unfortunately, Fitzwater has not had the success that he had last year coming into this race. Trey Smith has done a nice job there in that 79 machine, won at Richmond earlier on in the season. I would watch out for the 79 in this year's Indy 250. But any of these 26 drivers and any of the 10 Indy 250 only drivers who we will see joining these 26 guys on Friday could win this race. And it's going to be a lot of fun once we get to the race Saturday, May 27th. But Indy 250 week is just beginning. This is just the first of 16 different events going on at 4 different race courses as well. So we got ourselves the practice here, which is just concluded. Tomorrow we got qualifying for the Indianapolis road course race in the Haas IndyCar Series. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then we got ourselves North Wilkesboro this week for the Wawa Sprint Series and Wawa Cup Series. And then, of course, we got ourselves qualifying this weekend for the Indianapolis 250. And that's going to be the big thing, because if you fail to qualify for this race, you're not going to get any points. And the past few years, it's only been full-time drivers who have failed to qualify for this race. Now, the good thing is, this year, the 3 drivers who do fail to qualify will run in the Freedom 50. That'll be next Friday. Not this Friday, but the Friday after that, May 26th at noon. But scheduled video for Indy 250 week, of course, has already gone up. You guys all know what's going on, and our first event has concluded. And Aaron Abel will receive a championship point for being fastest here in the full-time practice session. We're going to close the oval track. We're going to open up the road course tomorrow for qualifying in the Grand Prix of Indianapolis, and we'll be back on the oval on Friday for the main practice session. That'll be a 30-minute long session for all 36 entries, and a point will be rewarded for the fastest driver in that session, and the qualifying order will be determined in that session as well. Aaron Abel fastest in practice here for the first practice session of the Indianapolis 250. We will see you guys tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, I think, for Grand Prix of Indianapolis qualifying from the Indianapolis road course here in the Haas IndyCar Series. Thank you guys so much for watching once again. Congratulations to Aaron Abel, and I will see you guys later.